Cutback High School Football Time Horse. We got a lot of games to go over. We're going to be previewing a lot of fantastic games and some rivalries along the way.
Pow!
Pow! Did you say pow?
Pow!
I don't know what he just said, but I like it. Horse, first up today, we have Thomas Downey against Gregory, recently added to our docket. What do you think about this game? What do you think about Downey?
Well, Downey is a pretty proud program. They're usually one of the upper echelon programs in the area. This year they've gotten off to a bit of a slow start. They're 0-2. The first loss was to a very talented Turlock team. But the second loss was pretty shocking to most people, to Enochs. They hadn't lost to Enochs in over a decade. So looking at Downey, they're really young. They're usually a very scary aerial attack, and this year it looks like they can't decide between two quarterbacks, and unfortunately both guys have turned the ball over a little bit. They've also both shown positive signs. They've both thrown for a lot of yards, a couple touchdowns each. They do have a serious rushing threat in Michael Navarez, who's gone over 100 yards in both games. So Downey might be a little young, inexperienced, but they're another one of those teams we talk about. They will get better every week. That's a well-coached team and a good program. So I can guarantee you in the next few weeks, they'll be a better team than they were the first game.
And for Gregory, it's all about Cruz Martinez. I mean, he's the quarterback that's pulling the trigger. He's the one that's leading the team. He's one heck of a player. I've enjoyed watching his highlights so far. He looks really good. And on the ground, it's Isaac Herman. He's been leading the ground. The charge and just really making it hard for other teams. That's how they're going to be successful. They've played two tough games, so I'm curious how they do against Downey, who Downey's coming in 0-2, so we'll see what happens. Ryan Widergreen is going to help on the defensive side for Gregory, and also Jonathan Crispian is a big lineman, and he's going to be very beneficial for them. These are guys to watch in this game. I'm curious to see what happens between Gregory and Downey.
Yeah, a win over Downey would definitely be a big win for the Gregory program. Historically, Downey has kind of put the beat down on them a little bit. So, it's definitely ripe for the opportunity to get a win over them.
Yeah, I think Gregory's up and coming and Downey's rebuilding, but both teams are going to be proud and wanting to win this game.
Yep, should be fun.
It's Dairy Bowl time, Horse, because Galt and Liberty Ranch are about to tangle.
Yeah, this is a pretty important game for both teams. Liberty Ranch is young this year. They're struggling a little bit, but they are playing better every week. Galt is also off to a little bit of a slow start. They're 0-2, but they've also improved in the two games they've played. They played much better the second week. Both teams come in here 0-2, wanting a win. And I can tell you right now, this is one of those small-town rivalries. These kids are going to play with everything they have for this game, especially the seniors. They do not want to lose this game. After many years of Liberty Ranch dominating the rivalry, Galt's kind of been coming back. They've won a couple recently, and Galt features a couple good players on offense, and they have number 4 running back Kenny Tran. He's a quick, explosive runner. He makes plays. They also feature, I'm sorry if I didn't catch your name, bud, but number 28, he's a fullback type runner. Runs the dives, those kind of things out of their spin type offense. He's a nice hard runner. He's hard to bring down when he gets going. They have then behind him is number 9. His last name is Moreno. He runs the ball pretty well. He runs hard, and he plays pretty well on defense too. Then out at wide receiver, they feature Tyler Zulum, who had a touchdown catch last week. He's a guy to look out for. He's a sophomore, rising sophomore. Then defensively, once again, a guy that I didn't catch his name in Galt's roster is not complete, was number 3. He plays defensive back. He had a lot of nice plays in their game last week. So Galt's got some good players on their team. They're still looking to put it together. This is going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, Liberty Ranch is a bit of a mystery. We can't really find out anything about it. We haven't got very much information on them. One thing I can say, though, about rivalry game, and especially this rivalry game, is it doesn't matter if they win any football games the rest of the season as long as they win this one. If they win this one, they will never let the other one forget about it. 10 years from now, they'll still be talking about this. The Dairy Bowl is something serious. These kids are going to go out there and play their hearts out, and it's going to be one good game, and it's going to be tough, hard-hitting. It's going to be a fun one to watch, Horst.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited for it.
Edison versus Bear Creek is going to be a talent show, Horst, because there's a lot of great players on these teams.
Yeah, Bear Creek better be ready. They're going down to the E-House, playing the Soul Vikes at their house. They have an explosive offense. They're tough to stop. They're fun to watch. They feature guys like Jalen Blackshear. They have Jamian Sampson. They have Zan Dosty. They have more guys than that. They're explosive. They have several guys on their team that can take the ball to the house at any moment. They have a big line up front on both sides of the ball, led by Jack Grinnell and Zachary Tamu. So they're a team. They're a problem offensively. Now Bear Creek does have some talent of their own. They have Brian Adams. They also feature a rising sophomore who had 2 kick returns for touchdowns last week in Charles Rogers.
Yeah, they're going to be put against it, though. Edison's defense and offense are fantastic. They have had great performances, and especially against Stagg. Just awesome performance. Really put it on him. Jalen Blackshear was almost impossible to tackle, and then they just got the ball in their playmakers' hands and let them make plays. Stagg is a good team, and yet Edison was able to handle them. Bear Creek is going to have all they can handle. Can they do something with it? They have enough talent to do it. It's just curious to see what they do with this talent. But I hope that they can make a lot of plays, and I hope this is a tight game because it'll be fun to watch. But we don't know what we're going to get out of Bear Creek yet. We know what we're going to get out of Edison. Edison is vying to be considered the top team in Stockton.
Yeah, and Bear Creek is not going to give up without a fight.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's time for the Weston Ranch Cougars to play the Ripon Indians. It's going to be one heck of a battle, Horst, because Weston Ranch is coming off a big win.
Yeah, Weston Ranch, that's big for their program, got a nice win over Daenerys last week. Ripon lost to Manteca in a game that they actually led going into the fourth quarter, which was a surprise after how they played the first game, and Manteca is a power. So Ripon has a dangerous duo from quarterback to receiver in Alex Wood and Malik Taylor. Malik Taylor in his first game ever had 3 catches, 135 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So that guy is an issue. Weston Ranch is going to have to stop them. They've historically not had a great defense, so we'll see if they've made steps forward in that department this year. This should be an interesting game because Ripon doesn't really come down and play teams like this very often.
Yeah, if they're going to stop Ripon's offense, it's going to be Nabir Brown-Sanger, who had, just 17 tackles last week. He's going to be the one that leads the charge. And then on offense, they're going to feature a spread. Weston Ranch spreads it out. They're going to want to get their athletes in space. Aaron Jaimez Rodriguez is going to lead the charge that way, both throwing, catching, running. He does it all. And Rogelio Ruvalcaba is also going to help. He had 3 passes last week, and he makes plays. Those are the guys that we need to highlight, and those are the guys that people need to watch. I'm curious how they play against Ripon, because you're right. Ripon could have beaten Manteca, and they just fell short. So this is a tough team. This will be a big match and a big test for Weston Ranch.
Yeah, it's a big matchup for both teams. Ripon's trying to prove that they haven't just fallen off from their state championship team last year. The guys that were underclassmen last year. Weston Ranch is trying to prove they can hang with the big boys.
Yeah, I think both teams are up and coming and rebuilding, and they're going to be something to watch in the future.
I think it'll be an exciting game.
This is one huge game, Horst. Sierra and Manteca, both of them impressive teams.
No, seriously, this is the game of the week right here. Both teams are powerful on offense and tough on defense. Sierra last week lost to Oakdale 21-20. If you can play Oakdale like that, you have a good team. It was a great game. Sierra's got playmakers all over the field. They are led by Kamoni Stanley and Marco Morales. And then their quarterback, Ryan Borgeson, as we've mentioned several times, just because it's still astonishing to us, went from Pop Warner all the way to his senior year of high school without playing football and is coming in and is playing really well. So he's a guy that's going to get better every week. Manteca's got a strong rushing attack. They're a 2-headed monster over there, and they're always led by a stout offensive line and a stout defensive line. So this game should be really fun.
Yeah, that running game is led by Lion Cologne and Khalid Robinson. Those guys are going to be getting it done. And Khalid Robinson is very hard to tackle. He also had 5 catches for 90 yards last year, so he's doing it all out there. Lion Cologne led the way, with 22 carries. He's going to be impressive. And the quarterback, Chris Charles, has been leading the charge, also getting the ball to Robinson. So these guys have a lot of weapons. This is going to be a battle. And to be honest with you, I don't know who's going to win this one. I think this one's going to be close and come down to the wire.
Yeah, these guys are going to put the show in the show.
On the eve of Good Friday, it's only fitting that we have the Holy Bowl, Horst. St. Mary's versus Central Catholic.
Yeah, this is a game Anthony and I actually go to every year.
Every year.
Either if it's in Modesto or Stockton, it's a game we enjoy. It's almost always a good game. Tough, physical. The score is usually close, and these are two of the better programs in this area, if not the two best over the last decade or so. St. Mary's comes in supremely talented. We all know the names Jaden Marshall, Nasari Danielson, Tyreek Washington, Paulie Maffey. They have a ton of guys that can play. They have 3 quarterbacks that can play.
Yeah.
And they're good up front on both sides of the ball. But Central Catholic and their coach Roger Canepa every year are a problem to be dealt with. They come in, they know what they do, and that's run the football right at you, shorten the game, and make you make mistakes. And they kind of do what De La Salle does. They play real good, clean football and bait you into making mistakes. And they do it extremely well. They're led by a pretty strong rushing attack. Who is that, Anthony?
Jack Grissel. He's impressive running back, and he's going to lead the charge, and he's going to get most of the carries there. And Central Catholic will just beat you down over and over and over. They'll give him the ball. Dominic Perino will take advantage of that run game, and he will complete passes down the field and play action passes, and they will get him outside the pocket, and he will cause problems. And then on defense, St. Mary's is going to have to worry about Phoenix Jackson. He's going to be flying around making tackles. So these are the guys that you're going to have to worry about. And the thing about Roger Canepa is there's no secret sauce. He just knows exactly what to do. Like, there's no special secret. I've sat in, clinic with him before and listened to him talk. He's very straightforward. He does what he wants to, do, and his team respects what he wants, and they get it done. Every year, Horst, we watch them in the state championships and the section title games. Every year, they were always there to compete, and these fans for this game just get really into it, and it's always impressive. I know it's going to be a different atmosphere this year than we've ever seen before, but that's not going to matter to these players because they're going to get down and they're going to go at it because this is definitely a rivalry.
Yeah, this is the biggest game of the year for both these teams in the regular season.
The big games don't stop there, Horst, because we got another one with Chavez Titans against the McNair Eagles.
Yeah, this is a big rivalry game. I actually spent a couple years in the McNair program as a coach. This is a big game to those kids. A lot of them went to middle school together or elementary school together, so this is a big old game. Both teams have pretty high-flying, talented offenses. This is kind of going to be one of those games that tells us where they stand in the pecking order, both teams in the SJA. Chavez is led. They have running back Reuben Hooks, who, man, if you saw our show last time, that guy can play. He makes nice runs. He's a good player. Had 2 touchdowns last week. Their quarterback, Brandon Wood, transferred from Stagg. He's been making some nice plays. Threw a touchdown to Javante Foster last week, who's a big threat at receiver. They have a big name on defense, Anthony. Who's that?
Daniel Silva Ferrer. He's making all kinds of tackles all over the place, and he's going to need to stop Aaron Ho and Jalen Canton in that offense. You also got Jonathan Norrie out at receiver for McNair, so they've got some talent on that side. And then Josiah Scott on offense, making huge blocks, pancake blocks last week against Franklin. Very impressive. And he's going to have to stud up on the defensive side as well because he's going to have to stop Reuben Hooks, which is going to be hard. If they let Reuben Hooks get going, that Chavez run game is going to run for a long time, and it's going to be hard for McNair to stay in this game. But we're going to see a lot of wide open offense on McNair side, and people need to fear Aaron Ho in the kick return game. He had some great returns against Franklin last week.
Once again, Aaron Ho, Stockton Bengals legend.
He's a legend, and if you have never seen his youth football highlights, check him out on YouTube. Fantastic.
By the way, Josiah Scott goes through there so quick, it's almost like a rhino.
I like that. The next one is a big matchup between the Tokay Tigers and the Linden Lions. Lions versus Tigers. Horse, let's talk about this.
This is actually a really interesting matchup. It looks like it'll come out to a pretty good game here. Both teams have some explosive athletes on both sides of the ball. They're struggling up front a little bit. So it should be a really, like I said, a really interesting matchup. Tokay's on offense, of course, has Joseph Filippini, one of the best running backs in the area. Got shut down a little bit by Lincoln last week, but Lincoln's a really good team. And his shutdown is still like 83 total yards, so he still had a pretty good game. But he's a talented player. He's going to be a problem. They have Atticus Salazar out there at wide receiver. They have Quinn Carter out at wide receiver. They have Jose Bravo also coming in to run the ball. So they have some good players out there, some talent. Ty Didinato and Jacob Barney at quarterback. They can both make plays. And then defensively, they're led by, they have Hasim Khan at linebacker. And they have Salazar at corner, Bravo at safety, and Filippini at the other safety. So those guys, they're a problem. What they're going to have to do with Linden is you got to stop our main man,
James Sherman.
Remember the name.
Yeah.
True team.
James Sherman is going to be the one to stop. He's averaging 183 yards and scoring 18 points a game. That's in the two matchups that he had against Lodi and Big Valley. He single-handedly took care of Big Valley as far as the scoring the points. In fact, it was Sherman's all day because his brother Jordan also scored a touchdown on a 19-yard reception. That is the key to beating Linden, is stopping James Sherman. If you can slow the run down, then you can stop him. This is going to be a true test. Now, I do think that these guys are going to be built up. They have some connections, personal connections. Atticus and James Sherman played together before, so they know each other. Jose Bravo knows them too. So there's going to be a lot of cool, fun matchups in this game. Daruv Walia is going to have to do a good job of helping stop Sherman on the inside, because Sherman, if he gets out and into the open field, there's not a lot of people that can catch him. He had an 81-yard touchdown run last week against Big Valley, and he breaks angles. So this is going to be the ultimate test for Tokay. Can they stop James Sherman?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. You might get a little bit of a shootout here.
I hope we get a little bit of Sherman lined up against Atticus Salazar also on the outside. For own personal reasons, I want to see that matchup.
Neither one's mouth will stop if that happens.
Guaranteed. Horse, next up, two teams we're very familiar with. We've game planned to play both of them over the last 2 years, and both teams have great coaches and great teams.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a rivalry game that's lesser known around here. Millennium, Big Valley, both good, well-coached programs at the lower Division 7 level. Millennium is led by Coach Woods. He's been there for a while now, and they always come out. They usually run I-backs and a little bit of spread. They're tough to stop. They do what they do, and they do it well. And they're usually tough to stop. This is their first game of the season, so we don't know too much about them, but it should be fun to watch.
Yeah, last year Millennium went all spread all the time and just hucked it and chucked it and threw it around. And I went and watched them play Big Valley last year, and Big Valley was still able to handle them. They just adjusted to it because they have a great coach too in Brian Burkfield, and they have a great run game. And that run game kind of got stifled last week by Linden, which was a little surprising to me. They look like they have work to do, and I'm sure they're going to be doing it. The defense still played pretty well, except for the big runs where Sherman was able to get out. I mean, the fact that they gave up a 4th and 17 touchdown to James Sherman on a draw play, I'm sure was eating them alive. But they're going to come and they're going to bounce back. Both these teams are very good. Millennium hasn't been able to beat Big Valley recently, so this would be a big win for them and a big win for the program. So I'm curious if they can get it done. This might be the year Big Valley and Millennium could be close.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one to watch.
Horse, this is one where you don't let the records fool you, because Lodi coming in at 2-0, going against Tracy, that's 0-2, but this is going to be a battle.
Yeah, Tracy might be 0-2, but their losses are to Lincoln and St. Mary's,
yeah.
So they were able to put up yards and points on both those teams defensively. They just weren't really able to slow either down, which isn't a criticism. Not many teams can. It's going to be a good matchup. Both teams run their offense. They run it well. They like to come hit you in the mouth, run the ball. Tracy usually runs some sort of double wing veer look, and Lodi is running the pistol double wing, so kind of similar offensive ideas. This is going to come down to who executes better and who plays better defense. Lodi's led. They have a couple good backs. They have Christian Zamora and Caden Merriman. Both guys are really making plays this year. Then up front, they're led by Reggie Miles and Sean Carpenter. A couple good, big, strong linemen. At tight end and linebacker, they have Isaac Bishop, another very good player. Quarterback, Adam Schallberger, he runs the option attack. He's a big, strong kid, runs the ball hard. Okay, at defensive back, and he also plays some skill positions on offense, Adolfo Sanchez. And he's also the kicker. He's a real fast, explosive kid. He's a threat when he gets out in the open with the ball. Now, Tracy also has several threats on offense.
Yeah, I think the main threat is Noah Deneau, the quarterback. He's going to be hard for anyone to stop. And if he gets it going, both through the air and running the ball, but mainly running the ball. If Lodi can't stop him, that's going to be the real problem. If they can, they have a really good chance to win. They also have a great defensive player for Tracy, and he's going to be tasked with helping to stop Christian Zamora in this offense is Cody Laments. He's going to be the one that has to make plays. And also they got a big lineman in William Hester who's going to be helping out. Those are the guys that need to, come up big to beat Lodi. And I think Tracy's looking to get that big win. They really need a win. They've had these 2 tough games, and they really need to get, back on track and finish the season out strong. And Lodi, this is their real test, the big test. They played West last week. They were able to get the big victory, but can they beat Tracy? If they can, then that will be a lot of momentum built up going into the rest of the season.
Yeah, I know this is a big game to Lodi because I talked to Coach Duenas after their scrimmage against Manteca, and he really felt like they could win, at least that they could go 4-1 in league and maybe even 5-0, on a good, if they had a couple bounces go their way. So this game is one he really wanted. They really want a winning record this year. So they're going to have to beat Tracy to do that, though. So it's going to be exciting. 2 hard-hitting, smash-mouth teams. Whichever defense shows up will probably win the game.
Yep, whoever's run game takes over is going to win this game for sure. It's time for the Stagg Delta Kings versus the Franklin Yellow Jackets. Of course, let's talk about it. What do you know?
I know that Stagg's got a real explosive offense. They struggled a little bit last week against Edison, but Edison's a very good team. They also didn't play as poorly as the score makes it look.
Correct.
If you watch the video, the game kind of just quicksanded on them, got out of hand. Stagg is a better team than that. Franklin, we still don't know a whole lot about. We know they're young. As we keep mentioning, they're trying to rebuild that program, but it doesn't get any easier this week with the Delta Kings. Delta Kings have quite a few explosive offensive players. They're led by quarterback Eric Hankins II, who's really been doing a good job throwing the ball. They have running back Gabriel Benton, who's had a couple big games already this year, and a receiver that you're a little bit familiar with.
Yep, Willie Turner. That guy is very athletic. They get him the ball in space, and he makes plays. He has been able to, cause a lot of problems in these 2 games. And as long as they get him the ball again this week, I think it'll be no different. Last week, Franklin kind of had a hard time stopping Aaron Ho out in the open field, and they will have a hard time stopping Willie Turner as well because he's very shifty and very fast.
Yeah, this game should be exciting. Franklin's out for a fight. They do not want to go over for the season, so they're trying to win this game. And then Stagg's trying to get that bad taste out of their mouth from losing last week. Should be a good, hard-fought game.
And everyone keep an eye on Richard Lockhart from Stagg. He's going to have a dominant defensive performance, calling it right now.
He's a name I've read a lot. Don't know a whole lot about him. Hit us up. Send us some film.
Bingo. Thank you for watching another episode of the Cutback High School Football Channel. We appreciate you being here. We're trying to continue to highlight these guys, but this is one heck of a fun week because there's a lot of rivalries that just happened.
Yeah, this is almost a mini rivalry week in the middle of the season. It's pretty exciting stuff.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you on the next one.
Pow!